this morning, I crawled out of my bed. My back was really aching, my eyes were cherry red. It's just the morning after, I don't remember who was here. I'll eat a slice of that cold pizza and wash it down with warm beer. I got that not so fresh feeling from my head down to my toes. I think I had a good time. Heaven only knows it's just the morning after. Lord, it's funky up in here. Help me now, yeah. I'll eat a slice of cold pizza and wash it down with warm beer. Yeah, you got it now. Hey.
Yeah, you got it now. Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Morning After with JP and Big Joe. I'm JP. What's up, Big Joe?
It's funky up in here. Oh, no, okay. No, it's good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, that intro never gets old to me. And until they come and sue us for using it, it's going to be our intro. It's going well, man. Joe out there in Denver still. I'm down here in Southern California. Enjoying another Friday morning. We've got a big show planned today. We've got Dan Souza on the show from Three Towers and Zombie Holocaust. And, someone made a joke that he is the drummer of every East Bay band. That's kind of how drummers... Yeah, that's kind of how it is with drummers. It's so hard to find a damn drummer. They just get passed around. And thank goodness for them. Don't you feel that way as a bass player though too? Because I feel like there's even less bass players.
Well, it's funny. I haven't been in that many bands, but I was in a good amount of bands. And I remember Joel Grind of Toxic Holocaust called me a band slut because we went out and we were playing Slaughter 1, and we went out and Fog of War played and we kicked butt. And I met Joel Grind here and there. Out and about a few times already. And I get off stage. He's like, dude, that was really cool. I'm like, oh, yeah, dude, that's freaking awesome. And then I get off and I get on for Zombie Holocaust and Rock the Set comes back, goes, dude, you're in both badass bands? I'm like, yeah. It's like, you're a band slut. I'm like, cool.
What a compliment, honestly.
It was,
much worse. Yeah.
Well, coming from a guy, too, that, he did all of his recordings. And then when he toured, he brought another band along, and that other band was actually his backing band.
Yeah, because Joel Grind is sort of a one-man show, right?
Not so much recently. I think once he moved up to Portland, I think he actually got an actual band. But he was a one-guy thing. He recorded everything himself, and then he would have the backing. Like Ghoulers came down for Slaughter by the Water 1. And it was, we're doing all the contract and stuff. And we're like, well, we don't want Ghoulers. So we just want you. And he's like, no, that's part of the deal. They have to come with me. Not realizing that, like, dude, he needs a backing band. And then so the Ghoulers got to open up for him. And then they went on there and then put masks on and did the costumes and then went on and played in Toxic Holocaust.
I see. Okay. So Ghoulers was.
Ghoulers, pardon. Yeah.
I don't remember. Ghoulers or
Ghoulers? It was Ghoulers, you're right.
Those are molars. Wisdom teeth. Those are molars.
I need boost.
Anyway, I remember them. So they were the backing band for Toxic Holocaust.
Yeah.
You're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, hey, it's good to be a band slut. Everybody wants you. Doesn't it feel good to be wanted?
That's what Michael was saying about his bass player Shane. He's in a bunch of bands. Not that he was a slut. I don't know if he is or not, but he was also in a bunch of bands in the East Bay and playing bass. And I know he's constantly talking about releasing new music. So I know he does. He probably gets more action than I do.
Oh, jealous?
A little bit, dude. Have you seen him perform? He's like a ninja.
I know, he's really good. Yeah,
dude, he's a badass ninja.
Yeah. any band would be better off with his services and yours as well, Big Joe. So
I bet you he would beat me in a foot wrestling match.
you think? You think?
His name's Shula Shane.
Oh, okay. So he's just a master without the shoes.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, maybe if you do get maybe if we do get some gigs popping off, maybe if real life starts to happen again, you can go to the new Aftershock Festival. Have you heard about they announced the lineup for the 2021 Aftershock Festival?
Oh no, I haven't seen it.
This is really optimistic, right? Like it's scheduled for October 2021, but it's optimistic, don't you think, to book a show?
Yeah, but you know what? They got to make it up for all those. I bet you there's a lot of bands that were relying on that money and contracts and all this behind the scenes politics. You know, I bet you they just made it to shut some people up, like Metallica, because they were supposed to do 2 nights. Was that Limp Bizkit I saw on there? Oh my God! I was just joking too. I was totally kidding.
You were not.
Testament has to open for Limp Bizkit, dude.
What's going on? How do we feel about that? So Thursday night, the headliner is Limp Bizkit. Who, I mean, are they even an active band? I mean, I don't want to hate on them because they're new metal or whatever.
When you pay the right amount of money, dude, like yeah, they're an active band.
Right. Yeah. Look at this Thursday lineup: Limp Bizkit, Parkway Drive, Testament, Hatebreed, Exodus, Knock Loose, Fit for a King.
Why aren't all right? So Testament and Exodus definitely should be on the Friday. I mean, look at.
You know, I just now realized that Metallica is doing 2 nights. You said that a second ago, but
yeah, they were supposed to this past fest.
2 nights, huh? And
yeah,
they're not
headlining 2 nights.
They're not consecutive nights either. They're
well, they probably need a break in between. What's up with that? What night is? It's Thursday night. So
yeah,
Thursday. Damn, dude. I don't know. I live out in that area now. I might next year. I might if I'm still rocking.
Well,
I'm gonna go do that shit.
If this thing even happens. I don't want to sound like a curmudgeon, but this fucking thing isn't happening. This show isn't happening. And if it does, it's going to be some weirdly separated.
And this was announced today, huh?
I think it was yesterday, maybe today. Yeah. What the last night, Sunday, Metallica, Social Distortion, Rise Against, Mastodon.
Ooh, I like
Steel
Mastodon.
Panther. Steel Panther, man. What do you think?
Nah.
Yeah,
I'd rather go just for Machine Gun Kelly than Bounce.
Machine Head Kelly?
Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, he's like a pop punk guy now.
Yeah, but I mean, you got Anthrax and fucking Body Count. Oh, Body Count's so good. And what's up with the question marks? What does that say underneath the question marks?
Good. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to ask you. It's right underneath it. It says reunion. So it's a mystery reunion. But if you notice, this is interesting. It's 2 question marks, space, 3 question marks. So does anybody have any guesses as to what that could be? Maybe it's Mr. Tom?
Mr. Bungle!
No. What, Dr. Dre? But he's not reunion. You can't reunite one person. Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Could
What's
be
up, dude?
Dr.
Trying to do that shit again? Hell yeah.
Dr. Dog. They're a band. They're not reuniting. Anyway.
I don't know, man. I can see this happening just because let's see, where did I see that blurb? I get news blurbs to my phone, and I don't know how. But CNN 3 hours ago told me that the FDA approved a COVID-19 treatment right before the election.
Is this the magic Trump treatment?
I don't know. It doesn't say any, but who does CNN side on? I don't know any of that shit.
Usually not on the side of Trump.
Yeah,
CNN
so
is fake news, apparently.
there you go. Yeah, CNN. Yeah, they're saying where'd it go? I lost it because I clicked on it.
I don't see anything about that. Now I'm looking around on. I should be hosting a show, and now I'm looking around on the news.
Well, I'm already like checking out this thing. Like, what the fuck is that? But I'll tell you what, I will definitely go see Suicidal Tendencies, Rancid, and Metallica for sure. I will buy that ticket.
Suicidal was on there. I didn't even see them. There were so many names on there. I didn't even notice Suicidal. Is that a new hat, by the way? A new Suicidal hat?
This is actually, I got this when I saw them last. I'm not wearing this. This is coincidence. I saw them on Father's Day 2 years ago, opening up for Rancid, and it was dope.
What a crazy collection of what a crazy lineup, right? Rancid, Suicidal Tendencies. Is that not weird?
That's it's money.
In a good way.
After doing Slaughter by the Water, you just, if you got the money and you got the stick to shake at them, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, we need to get that black book and start getting people on the show like James Hetfield, and just make it seem like it's a big old thing. And then James is gonna be like, yeah. How you doing today, James? Yeah.
I like weird lineups though.
I do too. Well, it shakes up the day.
Festivals are always weird, but to see a Rancid Suicidal Tendencies show, that's special.
Dude, it was so good. And on Father's Day, and it was a really good one. I went with my son. Mm-hmm. It was a really good day. And actually, my battle van, the tour van, which is my normal car, it actually it broke down right before we got off the freeway going to Sacramento. And it's putting along, the stereo's turning off and turning back on. And I'm don't let him off, and my son's waking up going what the hell, Dad? Don't worry about it. And I pull all the way in, and I get in there and park and pay for parking at the festival, and then boom, the van died. It was
meant to be. You got there.
I got right where I needed to go. And then we went inside, and I convinced the organizer of the show to let me out, call AAA, and then come back to watch, because absolutely no ins and outs. Yeah. So I didn't want to wait afterwards for AAA. So I caught Suicidal Tendencies, went outside, waited for AAA. It was my alternator. They changed the alternator out for $300 and another $100 for some other stuff. Went back in, saw Rancid kill it, and it was dope.
You got lucky there. I was hoping the story would end with you saying, and I've been living in that van ever since.
I do have a bed in that van.
If you have a van that's big enough, you got to have a fucking bed in there.
There's a twin size bed in there, bro.
Oh, yeah. This van's a rocket.
Now all I need is a moped, and I'll drive that shit in there and just drive it out, and I can still go on tour and go to the little store by my dude. I want a moped so bad. I'm gonna dress up. Do you mean
a moped or a rascal?
A moped, Vespa, a little rat. I don't give a fuck. As long as it can hold my fat ass and go up a hill.
You've already given up on walking?
No, I should walk a little bit to lose the weight for the moped.
There you go. Yeah.
And then I'm going to put the weight back on, because if I come up with the weight on the moped, it's going to be used to it.
Yeah.
It's probably going to gain weight with me.
All right. Well, I'm glad you made it. I'm glad. Did they boo Did anybody get booed that show? I'm curious. Were there any haters in the crowd?
No, it was like a brewery show. Some sort of in the first half of the day, you go out in the middle of the sun in the heat in Sacramento with no shade, and you drink craft beers, and then you come back in the second half and then catch there was a lot of different bands actually, and it was fucking, like I said, it was really great. Suicidal Tendencies killed it, and I moshed and I rocked out, and I pretty much danced for Rancid, and did ska movements as best I could.
Ska movements.
while my son.
I think that is that hardcore dancing or skanking. Skanking.
Yeah, skanking. I'm
ska movements. I couldn't even think of the word too. I was like, isn't it hardcore dancing?
No, those are for the kids with the Jeremy haircut. No offense, Jeremy. I'm sorry. I love you.
He knows you love him.
I know. That little fuzzy rock.
Anyway, that's a cool line. You know, back in the 2000s, Slipknot was touring with Coheed and Cambria, and I always thought that was crazy. I never got to see one of those shows, and I really wanted to because I was still am a big Coheed fan. But yeah, I heard that some nights it was great, and then some nights they were getting like just roasted, just booed by the Slipknot crowd.
I can see it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Coheed and Cambria. Who did they come out around with last before the world shut down? I want to say it was in the beginning of the year. Right?
Well,
was that Mastodon?
I know
I went to it for sure.
I fucked up and missed that Mastodon.
You know what it was, but you know what? It was a reunion, not a reunion show. It was an anniversary show for one of the albums, and I like the later Mastodon stuff that they're doing. So I really wasn't too into this album. I can't remember what it is. Dan will know. One time, me and Dan, we listened to it in his garage on vinyl.
The Coheed record or the
Mastodon?
Oh, okay. Well, what you know what? Why don't we ask him? What do you say? What do we bring our guest in?
Let's just go ahead and do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to bring in our special guest. This man is a longtime bandmate of Joe and I. We played in Zombie Holocaust for about a decade together. He's also the drummer of Three Towers, incredible three-piece from the ashes of Agata, another great band that Dan was in. You can just list for days the number of great bands Dan's been in. But let's talk about it. Pillager. Oh,
ooh, that was a fun band.
That was a fun band. I have that in my notes. But anyway, let's bring him in. Without any further ado, Dan Souza, what's going on, buddy?
My dudes, what is up?
Yeah. Who you got next to you there?
Oh, this is my new bandmate, Bone Daddy.
He's got a very stylish hat. I like it.
He plays the bones, you know.
Oh, okay.
What's coming out of his mouth?
It's quarantine. You got to get band members where you can. You know, he lives with me, so this is it may be a spine, some entrails.
Oh.
Our friend on Instagram commented on a picture and said, "What is that coming out of his mouth? Is that a double-ended dildo?" And I'm just like, "You dirty."
Oh my. Jesus,
oh yeah, this is a live show. Sorry, we're getting dirty already. Sorry, guys.
It's a live show. Dan. Anything can happen in this show.
I thought it was a double-ended dildo.
You would, Joe. You would.
I thought it was that big one that we had that had the suction cup on it, and at the studio we used to throw it against the wall, and it would stick there and flop.
Yeah. Before we get into the Dan Souza story, Dan, how the hell did that big dildo end up in the ZH studio? There was the big dildo, as Joe said, with a suction cup on the end of it, and it was just there. How did it get there?
Well, that was left by our former studio mates. Remember Ahmad from? Oh, geez, why is the band name escaping me now? You remember those guys though that moved in right before us? Anyway, they left it behind. It was just apparently it had traveled with them from studio to studio. I don't really know the history behind it, but then it basically became a sport for us. We would see how far away from the wall we could stand and throw it and have it stick. And this thing was heavy too. You know, it was like
the suction was so strong. The suction was so strong on it. Somehow it was able to hold up the entire. And I'm not exaggerating. The thing was like over 2 feet long, wasn't it? It was like
it was hefty. Like I think no matter what you do with that, it's considered a sport.
My favorite thing with that big dildo with the suction cup on the back is we would throw it against the wall and we'd leave and it would stay there for like weeks and eventually would fall down.
There was all these marks on the wall, like from where
one time I got to the studio and I'm waiting for everyone to show up. I was early and I unlocked the door and the door wouldn't open. And I'm sitting there and I had to push it open with all my might. And I'm going, and the dildo had fallen and got stuck and jammed underneath the door. And I had to push. I almost broke the door because the thing was just so thick. I couldn't open the door. It just pushed back on me, you know, like like a tennis ball got stuck underneath it.
Oh my gosh!
I think that might our door still might be a little bit off kilter from that. I'll these years
Because I was
later.
ramming that thing to get open. Like, let me in. I thought you guys were on the other side fucking with me, you know? Like, hey, don't let him in. Hold the door closed. Nope. No one was in there. I pick up the
Oh
dildo.
my
It's got
God.
like these like road like burns on it, you know, because of the door.
I remember the moment that thing
Oh,
got thrown. I remember the moment that thing got thrown away too. You know, I think one day Nick just was like, I think it was Nick. He was like fed up with it. And it was just like covered in like, you know, schmutz, studio schmutz.
It lasted a couple of years. It was a good companion.
You know,
I
yeah,
miss that big cock.
big big props to the band that left it there, that just decided they didn't want it anymore. They sort of left it behind, which I thought was funny. They brought it from studio to studio, but then after this one they were like, I think it's time we let it go and pass it on to a new band. So anyway,
We definitely put some good miles on that bad boy.
Good. We did it justice.
Yeah.
let's go back. Let's take it back. I want to know about Dan. I want to know about young Dan. Dan, I want to know about your early influence. I want the Dan Souza story to be told, you know, because I don't think it's been fully told. I want to know what's going on. What are your early influences when you were a kid? How did you get started in music? Were you given a set of drums or something? You were just like, I'm down. Was there like a record that you heard that you're like, I want to play? I know your dad is a big musician himself. How did you get started in music?
Yeah, I mean that's really it. You know, big props to the pops there for providing excellent music, you know, instruction and equipment and everything. I mean, he just had his buddies over for their like weekly jams, and you know, my cousins, my uncle, you know, so many people in my family just play, and so they just had a studio in the garage growing up, and so I was just exposed to that. So I don't even really remember the moment, you know, where like I picked up instruments, but I do remember the moment I picked up a guitar, which was the first thing. And the first fucking song I ever learned was Californication by Red Hot Chili Peppers. It was like that stupid little riff, you know, and I learned that, and then yeah, I guess it's history. And then, you know, I was really into pop punk. I mean, you know, talking about Rancid and everything, like.
So guitar came for you first.
Guitar came for me first, yeah, and I got into middle school and then formed a band with Jesse and Jason, who I still play music with in Pleasure Cult. You know, with me on drums now and Jesse on guitar. Jason is stuck to bass, but yeah, so I formed a band with those guys, and we were just into like pop punk. I mean, I think it really all started with skateboarding, and kind of watching skate videos. And at that time there was like a lot of pop punk and skate videos. And obviously everyone here probably knows the Tony Hawk soundtrack by heart, you know, has it probably memorized by now. And so I think that really probably started it all. And then I remember like we covered like Misfits and like songs off of Green Day's Dookie and shit like that. And then started writing our own songs, which, you know, we thought were like really cool at the time. Maybe they still are cool. I don't know. Maybe they are. There's probably some.
Are there any old recordings or anything?
There are. Yeah, I gotta give credit to Jen Marshall for saving those. Honestly, I don't think any of us bandmates really saved any. I know my dad saved some tapes that like he recorded in the garage for like our practices, and then Jen Marshall saved the CD, like the CD with like our shit. I've been too embarrassed to go back and listen to it.
I was gonna say,
I should probably go listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to hear it.
I do too.
Oh my goodness.
Well, what year was that? Would you say?
2002. 2002, 2003, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What time? About what time did you start up Fragile X? Because I know that was a big part of your youth, and you and Omar did Fragile X together, right?
Yes, correct. And,
Omar, of course, Omar Barreto from Three Towers, your
Omar
current
from
band.
Three Towers, that's right. And and actually before Fragile X came Pillager. At the time, it was not called Pillager. This was like when I was a freshman in high school. So when I was pretty much like when we all entered high school is when the old middle school band Heroic Villains split ways, and then we all still kept playing music in different projects, and then I switched over to drums. And then I'm actually leaving out one crucial detail here. There was another middle school band called the Suspects. That was the first band I played drums for with my homie Paul Wiseman. He was on guitar. And yeah, actually, he's actually in our current studio now. So me, Jesse Jason, Paul Wiseman, damn near 20 years later, still in the same, still sharing a studio, still making music, still doing the whole fucking thing,
That's beautiful, man.
Paul's actually an excellent drummer now. He's moved over to drums and he's killer. Look him up. But yeah, so anyway, and then we all got into high school, and then I met up with Jake and Trevor from Pillager, and at the time, we were called Ripped Children.
Ripped Children.
Trevor thought of the name because we got stoned a lot. We were huge stoners, so we were always ripped. And then kill children. Yeah, I don't know.
It makes sense.
Just last night, actually, an old video surfaced from like one of our first shows ever in Castro Valley in Courtney Garrig's garage, and it was dope. It was like on Halloween, actually, 2006. Huge circle pit in the garage. Our singer Steve was in a wig. But yeah, it was sick, man. We played some shows, like at Burnt Ramen with Deadfall, Scotty Karate and stuff like that. And then yeah, there it is. Bam.
Yeah.
Quick on the draw there, man. Quick on the draw.
Look at Castro Valley in the fucking mid 2000s. I love that.
Dude, a circle pit in a garage in Castro Valley. It's like
there's Captain Jack Sparrow just ran by.
Those are I think that might be Omar with the headband, with the white headband there. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Omar, if you're watching.
Yeah. Oh, he's so little.
So crazy, man. So crazy. But yeah, man, those were fun days, and then that formed into Pillager later on.
Wow. So Pillager was your band before? You were in Pillager before Zombie Holocaust, right?
Yeah, before that one was before Fragile X, before Zombie Holocaust.
Wow.
And honestly, like to this day, in terms of like some of my favorite music, that is still like up there in my favorite projects that I've ever been in. Like just because of how sheerly evil it was, like it was just
and heavy, so heavy too. Fucking A. Yeah. Where can people find Pillager right now? Is there anywhere to hear Pillager or
YouTube.
Any way to hear it? YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, you have to search like the song titles though, because there's like there's like other things out there that are associated with the word Pillager or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, pretty much YouTube, man. We're actually thinking about, like, we released a few CDs, and I've been talking to Trevor recently about like compiling all the music, because it was like four EPs that we might just compile into one thing, but yeah, that was a fun project. It sucks we never went on tour. That was like the one thing, but I think like from the outsider who like didn't know who we were, like looking at Pillager, we probably looked like a scary band, even though like we really weren't. But you just had Trevor up there, this like humongous, tall, super punk rock looking bass player. Scumbag Steve, who was like looked a little bit like kind of gangsta, like little scary, and just like we probably looked like a scary band, but like we were just like stoners, nice dudes.
Exactly. Like off stage, you guys are all really mellow. Like Trevor's so mellow, and Jake is even more mellow. And then you're such a nice guy. Steve. What's up with Steve? Where's he at these days?
Dude, Steve's actually killing it. He's a barber.
Really?
Still down in Fremont. Yeah, he cuts hair. I got my hair cut a couple times. And he works on cars. So he tricks out lowriders and shit like that. So
wow.
Fuck
yeah. I saw him kick out this Nazi guy from Burnt Ramen. It was like the last Pillager show ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was
I do remember that.
Yeah, I think it was like the last Pillager show. You might have been out of the band at that point. Maybe you were. I don't know. It might have been post Dan, because there was a minute where they were still playing with Yev on drums.
Those were my favorite. That's my favorite era of Pillager is when I was not in the band. Because I just got to go, and they were like probably like more successful than ever at that time, and playing like some really good shows. And I got to go circle pit like for the band that I like grew up with. Like, it was great,
I never thought about that. You get to like take yourself out of it and enjoy it for once. And I think Yev did it justice too. He's a really heavy player.
He is. He's fast. He's insanely fast. That was the problem. Like, they couldn't get him to slow down. He didn't want to play any of the sludgier songs, But yeah, I do remember that when we were at Burnt Ramen, and that fucking asshole, that Nazi guy was being racist and being a piece of shit, and he got his ass handed to him.
Yeah, it was like he had some questionable patches and shit like that on his jacket. And I just remember, exactly. I just remember him going like, "How the fuck are you wearing that shit at the Burnt Ramen? Like, what the fuck, dude?" And then he was gone. Dude was gone. I don't know what happened, but that dude was gone for the rest of the night. And it was all because of Steven.
That's how it was back then. That's right, man. Props to Steve. But that's how it was back then, though. Like, you went to these shows that have no security, no rules, no oversight whatsoever.
I think I worked security at a Burnt Ramen show one time.
I think everyone, it's like a rite of passage. You gotta work the door,
Yeah.
But it's like it was a totally, like, in a lot of ways, and in many ways not, right? But there's a lot of ruckus. But in terms of what was important, it was kind of self-regulated scene. Like, it was just people took care of it. It's like you're there for the same reason, because you don't fit in anywhere else. So when someone starts coming in and fucking with that, like, get out of here,
Straight up. It's a shame that kind of the city has to go and step all over that kind of stuff. Because honestly, the Burnt Ramen was a place where no one is doing any harm, except maybe to themselves. People are drinking some alcohol, and maybe, we'll just say that they're just drinking alcohol in there. But I mean, it can get so much worse in the world. You know what I mean? It's like, let these kids have a fucking place to watch bands play. They're not causing any problems. But anyway, rant aside, Burnt Ramen was a really fun place to watch a show. And I've seen you play. I've played with you there. I've seen you play a bunch of times there.
Yes.
Mostly with ZH, which leads me into my next thing. How did ZH get started? I think I know the story, but how did Dan Souza get into ZH? Zombie Holocaust.
Well, I mean, yeah, you do know the story. Nick and I had jammed years before we were ever in a band together, because he lived across the little spillway from me, and would just, like, he would be playing guitar with his window open, and then I'd be playing drums with my window open, and we would, like, hear each other playing. So we were, like, jamming from across the creek before we ever really met or anything like that.
Do you think he was trying to talk to you, and vice versa? Were you trying to talk to him?
I think we were trying to court each other a little bit.
Yeah. Right?
But yeah, and then once I got into high school, and I started going to Redwood, and then started, like, meeting a bunch of metalheads. And I know you guys all went to Redwood years before me. But yeah,
to clear that up, Redwood is the continuation high school in Castor Valley, the town we all grew up in. So for a little context there, it's where the losers went to school, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. You mean winners, because look at all of us now. We're doing great.
I'd say so.
But yeah, anyway, so I was hanging out with, like, Ricardo, the original guitar player of Zombie Holocaust, and then we were all kind of tight. And then Ricardo also knew Nick, because they were all kind of more into, like, the goth industrial scene together. And so that was actually who introduced me. And then Nick basically was just like, hey man, like, you like thrash? Like, Ricardo actually gave me like a mix CD with all this, like, metal on it, because at the time I was pretty much, like, listening to punk. I listened to, like, Black Sabbath and Slayer and stuff, but I was mostly into punk. And Ricardo gave me this mix CD that had like Dark Angel and, like, Exodus and all this shit on it. And that's kind of what got me into thrash. And then Nick pretty much just approached me. He's like, let's start a band. I want to start a band, and then we were, like, at his birthday party at his house. Fucking, I don't even remember what year that was, but we were just raging drunk in his room, and he just busted out his guitar, and Nick started playing guitar like on full volume on his half stack in his room at like 2 a.m. and then like a circle pit inside of his room ensued, just to like someone playing scratchy like dry guitar. We're all just like circle pitting, and that's pretty much when it started. That's pretty much when like, all right, I guess we're a band now because we did that. That happened, so now we're a band.
I love that. At any point, did you guys say, "Let's start a band"?
No, I know I just kind of said that, like, but like, no, it was never really like, it was like pretty much like, this is happening. It's like we're gonna start jamming together.
That's beautiful. It was like an unspoken thing.
Nick,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong on any details. It was a very drunken time of our lives back then.
So things happened for you guys really fast though, because what I'd say you guys started when, in 2007, I think, or 2006 maybe.
2006, really.
2006. So this is right when all the thrash metal is all of a sudden becoming fucking cool again. You know what I mean? And like,
exactly.
There were some bands that were really kind of holding the torch during that whole time in the late 90s and the early 2000s, but there was really no thrash metal or crossover stuff going on. Like I said, a few bands like, I don't know, Scarecrow and some other kind of newer thrash bands, but there was really nothing going on. So explain how ZH grew so fast, like within 2 years. Because in 2008, you guys were playing shows that were packed, at Gilman and stuff like that. How did that happen so fast?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, first of all, I think ZH played that show, that garage show that you showed the video of.
Oh, really?
They were on that. Yeah, we were on that bill. And we also played another house in Castro Valley called our friend Yeb's house. So those were like our first two shows, were in straight up just at houses in Castro Valley. And then it was really, I don't even remember. Somehow Nick got us the gig. He's a networking guru. But it was with Hatchet and Decapitator and Devastator at the old Balazzo Gallery, or otherwise known as Submission.
Fog was on that too.
Fog was on that. Thank you. And it just went well. I mean, we weren't that great at the time. We were sloppy as fuck. We didn't have good equipment really. I mean, but like we were just fun. I think we set ourselves apart because we were just more like party, just kind of we smiled a lot, and everyone was like really serious. So we just stood out. And I remember Jules from Hatchet came up to us after the set and he's like, "Hey, good job, man. Like you guys were here on time. You guys were prompt. You guys killed it. Like, I like working with you guys. Let's do more in the future." And, Jules, I got to give it to that guy. He really kind of, stuck his neck out for us and started getting us onto other shows. And then we played the Hazmat Warehouse, the old Pirate Punk Warehouse in Oakland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it was for Isabel's birthday show, something like that.
Birthday bash.
Fog was on that show too.
That's right.
And Brockus Helm.
That's right, man. I think that was like maybe like the second real show we had. It all starts blending together, but that was early on as well. And I remember it was like in like the summer or something, and we like opened and it was like daylight out there. It was like still there was like sun shining through the windows in like a circle pit. And it just really kind of snowballed from there. I think that's why we just stood out on bills, and kind of brought a different element to the serious metal scene. And yeah, that kind of history from there, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely clear how much fun you guys were having on stage, and I really personally I was a big fan around that time, and I connected with that as well because as you said, everyone is really trying to look very serious, and it was very nice to see a band of guys that were clearly having fun on stage and not taking themselves too seriously, because let's be honest, none of this is very serious. We're just a bunch of guys in denim drinking beer and playing music for basically our friends, so it was really cool to see what you guys were doing, and I think totally other bands actually started to smile a little more after you guys did.
I think so too, and it's a you hit the nail on the head. Like, why take it that I mean, I understand why bands have to have a serious image and stuff, but why take it that seriously? Like, we're all in a throwback scene. Like, it's a nostalgic, it's like it's playing thrash metal as much as I love it. This is not bagging on it, but it's like equivalent to like watching your old favorite 80s movies, and
Dude, we're all posers.
Shit like that.
This is the way I've been saying this for like, we're all posers. Like, the thrash metal thing happened in the late 80s, sort of died off in the early 90s. Everything since then, if you're new to the thrash metal thing, you are a poser. I'm sorry. Like, we're all posers. We weren't there. We missed out.
It's like the progression directly mirrored the progression of the 80s, dude, because like right before thrash came back, punk came back, and it's like there's this huge punk movement, and then all those kids got into thrash, and then now all those kids are playing grunge and stoner metal again, and like the now the 90s are happening before our eyes again. It's like,
it's true.
What the fuck is going on?
So you guys got some shows under your belt. Pardon me. You've got some shows under your belt. You're starting to make connections with different bands around the Bay Area. Tell me how you guys, what the process was like when you released Strike Force in 2009. How hard was it to make that record? I mean, what was the funding like? I mean, was there a record company behind it? And what was it like touring for that record back in 2009, I believe? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was very little funding, but it came together like super easily. We recorded with Jeff Leppard, the late Jeff Leppard, the legend, the man, the myth. But I mean, he just like was so quick and easy in his studio. It just like was like we just cranked that thing out. And Jeremy was really new to the band, actually. I don't even think we had a bassist. We just played the bass. Wait, is that right? I don't even think we had a bassist on that.
I think Nick told me that both Jeremy and Nick played bass on Strike Force.
Yep, that's right. And then Jeremy was new to the band. He wasn't even that like rehearsed. He just kind of learned the songs and came into the studio and like helped shred, the shred solos and shit. So I mean, really, it just came together like strangely effortlessly. And then we ended up getting EBM, the label out of Mexico, to help really it.
What happened with EBM? Really, yeah, let's break off for a second.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, because around the time I joined the band in 2010, EBM was our label, but I think at the time nobody could find the dude. I think the guy that was behind the record label went missing or something. What happened with him?
I mean, pretty much that. He kind of went MIA and stopped responding.
But
ZH
doesn't have a label anymore.
ZH no label, yeah. And then we went on tour with Premonition, which was some of the fucking best times ever. It was going on tour with those guys
all across the U.S. too, right?
Yeah, that first tour, man, it was like, I can't believe how that was planned. It was like the most brutal overnight drives every night. I mean, we did the entire U.S. in like 2.5 weeks. So we skipped over a lot of states. We just drove through a lot of states, like without stopping playing any shows, anything like that. I mean, the driver, and also frontman of Premonition, that dude was very protective over his van and didn't like anyone else to drive even. So that dude was like burning himself out 100%. And we get all the way to fucking Florida and then a meltdown happens, and he's like, I'm ending the tour. And we're like, fuck. And he like breaks off for like 2 days and goes and does his own thing, and leaves us all in a hotel. And we're like, what the fuck are we going to do? But it ended up working out. He got some rest and came back into it. But
poor guy just needed a nap.
Well, he was from Florida, right?
He was, yeah, that's right.
So he probably just went back home and slept for a couple days and was like, "Yep, I'm good. Let's go."
But that was my first tour experience, and I was like, "This is how it is." Like just sleeping in the van every night and like not getting any rest, like literally just sleeping through drives and like. I mean, I guess that is how it is a lot of the time. But since then, we've learned shorter drives, play more shows in one area,
Yeah, if you're passing through one of these states, why not visit one of their bars and play a set there?
Exactly. And yeah, just don't plan it like where you're gonna just burn yourself out like that. So the second tour we went on with Premonition was way more successful. We actually had places to stay every night. You know, we had a lot of fun. And we had fun both times. But the second one was like way more fun, way more successful. And yeah, good times, man. But honestly, some of my favorite tours were just like those little LA tours that we used to do, like just the little Southern California. You go spend like 5 days just down there, you know.
Oh, those are the best because it felt like we're going on tour, but we don't have to do all the stuff that goes along with going on tour, like being completely out of money and sleeping on cement and all that fun stuff. Because a little LA trip is nothing. You go down there and come right back, and yeah, good times. But
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
A tour can be. So wait, you guys went on 2 tours with Premonition?
2 tours, yeah. The first one was the U.S. tour. The second one was really like this West Coast. We went up to like it was like the whole West Coast, and then we did like Vegas, and then Colorado and like Boise, Idaho. So we kind of went up through through the middle.
So sorry. And were you guys were Strike Force was out at this time, and you guys were touring that across the country?
Yeah. And that show actually was our coming home show that you and Jordan went to at Burnt Ramen, where we had like the fucking 6-foot bong that we were like passing around to the crowd, and the stage diving competition, and all
Jordan
that.
won that stage diving competition. I remember
Jordan
they were
won.
And then later he would be in the band.
Later both you guys would be in the band. Yeah, it's fucking amazing,
true.
Right?
Yeah, actually, I was in a band. My old band was supposed to play. Really, who gives a shit about this story? But my old band was supposed to play your like going away show. You guys were going to go on tour, and then you guys were having like almost like a fundraiser show. You know, like, hey, buy some merch off us before we go starve to death on tour. And my old band was supposed to play, and we broke up like the day of because we all got in a big argument and stuff, and we had to call Nick and be like, "Hey, we can't play that show," and it was like really fucking embarrassing.
That was the hazmat. That was the hazmat. Right?
Yes. It was a very embarrassing situation, but we still attended the show, and it was a good time.
You guys did, because you guys are fucking awesome. You guys are diehards.
Yeah.
Hey, but look at you guys now.
We were fans.
SRB's killing it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Still, how's it going with Panda Studios, man?
Dan, I asked the questions here.
Hey, I need to know. Give me 30 seconds.
I'm kidding. No, it's going well over there. Sam at the Panda Studios, great guy, great producer, having a great time. Great. Yeah. So thank you for asking. I really appreciate that.
Sweet. Yeah. But, everyone, look out for SRB's next album.
Oh, what a guy! Thank you, Dan. So yeah, you guys come back from tour. Everyone's tired. Is it time to write a new album? What are we doing? Because this is pretty. I think Jeremy left pretty soon after you guys came back from your second tour, right?
That's right. And then that's when you joined the band, JP.
Yeah.
I remember you and Jeremy played a show together, right? Am I wrong? Or did you?
That was awkward. Yeah, I'll tell the story really quick because you guys, Nick hit me up and was like, "Hey, can you fill in on guitar for a show?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you know the songs?" I was all, "Yeah, I didn't, but I did." Later that day, I did. And then so you guys picked me up, and I was like, "Why can't Jeremy play the show?" And he was like, "Oh, Jeremy's playing the show." I'm like, "Why? What am I doing then?" And like, you're playing guitar. Joe can't play the show because he has a bad back. So Nick's going to play bass. You and Jeremy are going to play guitar. I was like, whoa, this is fucking weird, dude. And then the day of, I did all this rehearsing. We get there, and then we don't even play because there was a younger band, and we wanted to let them have the shine because the sun was going down. And we're like, there's only like time for one more band. And there was this kid band, Hemorrhage, and they were so nice.
Yeah.
And you guys were like, let's just have them play. Are we over it? We're over it, right? Let's go home. And so I was like, okay. So my first gig with you guys, I never even set foot on stage. It was really funny. I think he did a nice thing though, letting those kids play.
No regrets. Hemorrhage still rocks. I think this came up on a couple of shows ago or something. But yeah, those guys fucking rock. Go check out Hemorrhage and go check them out playing out of their awesome tricked out van. It's amazing.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That
They're
was
the band that plays
what
in the
at
van.
Misfits, right? Weren't they jamming at Misfits? And
They
Coliseum?
they were, yeah, in the rain.
That's legendary stuff. Like they'll be remembered for that for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that was such like ZH style though, like just like rotating members and like gigs with like no practice and just overall fuckery, you know.
Absolutely. I think
Showing
one
up
night we
without
were all
gear.
yeah. Oh yeah. And as far as the rotating members go, I think one night we were all hanging out and just for fun, I was like, how many people have played bass for Zombie Holocaust? So we wrote down everybody that's played bass for ZH, and I think my pen ran out of ink.
It's like 20. Yeah, it's in the double digits for sure.
It was insane. Yeah. So what's going on in the meantime between Strike Force and Entitled to Enlightenment? There was a big 4-year break there. I know Slaughter by the Water was happening. ZH sort of playing those shows. What was going on in the interim? I know Big Joe joined the band too.
Big Joe joined the band.
2010.
Yeah, 2010. We were just playing shows and having fun, really, and yeah, doing a bunch of SoCal runs. I think that's when we really started going down to SoCal and making friends with all those guys down there, and like Witch Haven and Bonded by Blood and Warbringer and all that. And actually, I could see Bone Daddy here is wearing a Macrocosm shirt. What's up, Jose?
Yeah, shout out to Jose, good dude.
From
All those dudes
Bonded
in
by Blood.
Macrocosm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But
what's
yeah,
going on with
that's
Pillager at this time? Are you, because at some point you broke off from Pillager? It was around that time, no?
Yeah, I broke off with Pillager in like 2012.
What happened?
You know, I mean, at that time Agata was starting up, you know, and going pretty strong, and you know, ZH was busy, and I was just busy, and I you know, you got to think like I had been in that band for maybe not 2012, maybe it was a little later, but you know, I had been in that band for like almost 10 years, you know, so it was just a long freaking time to be in a band, and I just, you know, I just kind of need the change. I loved the band. Like I said, I continued to go to their shows and rage, and now I even look at that band like in the fans' perspective. But yeah, I just had to end it. I just needed to focus on Agata and Zombie Holocaust.
Nothing messy.
No, not at all. I think we were just at band practice and in my backyard, you know, at my parents' house, and we, you know, just fucking ripping the bong, and I was just like, hey guys, like,
oh no.
I need to break it off, man. I mean, I think it was they were kind of bummed. I don't think it was like necessarily a happy experience. But
Dan, you just brought a memory back into my head. Do you remember? I actually called you while you were in the middle of breaking up with Pillager. Do you remember that? Okay, so you were in the middle of talking to Trevor and Jake. And you were telling them that you were going to leave the band. And I didn't know this. I just called you like, hey, what's up, Dan? Yeah, you going to be over here at this time? You're like, yeah, I'll be there. I'm with Jake and Trevor now. And I was like, okay. And then I didn't get the hint or something. And I kept asking you questions. And then at this, I think you must have told them already that you're going to leave the band. And then I called or something because they were kind of like not happy. So I'm sitting here asking you all these fucking questions about whatever, because I didn't know what a weird situation you were in at the time, you know, in the middle of a breakup. And then I just hear both of them at the same time going, he has to go. Like,
oh my God.
Because I think you had me on speakerphone or something. And like, I wouldn't stop asking questions. And I heard both of them just like saying, he needs to go. And you're like, yeah, I got to go. I was like, oh, okay. And then you told me later, like, yeah, I was in the middle of leaving the band.
Yeah, typical me, you know, like too nice to get off the phone, like too nice to be like, sorry, like, that was not your fault.
You should have just let it ring. Oh my God.
I should have been like, I'll get back to him later. But, yeah,
I felt like such an asshole.
not you, buddy. That was all me.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that it wasn't anything messy. So yeah, at the time that's right. You were starting up Agata at the time too, which sort of was the precursor, I don't know, to Three Towers. Right? Would you call it
Yep.
that? It was, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. How did Agata get started? Because you and Omar had been musician buddies for quite a long time. Was it just an overdue thing? Like we need to have a band together. Why don't we have a band together?
Well. I mean, you touched on it earlier because we had Fragile X before that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So Fragile X existed before Zombie Holocaust, and we were totally part of like that, 80s hardcore punk revival. So me and Omar already had been playing music together, and the stuff just started naturally getting heavier, and more metal and more progressive. As our influence changed, and yeah, so I won't go too far into Fragile X, but that was a super fun time, and that band was awesome. But like our singer Dylan like moved away and stuff, and we kind of started going different directions, and then Omar and I met up with our buddy Negative Tom, who actually used to sing for a band called Funeral Shock back in the day, and we're like, let's start a band, and that's kind of how that happened, and we brought Yeti on board.
Yeti, one of the bass players of ZH. Just throwing that out
one
there.
of the many. He played that legendary ramen show with the bong saber and the stage diving competition.
Dude, I thought he was fully your bass player at the time too. He was kind of just like a trial run with Yeti at the time, but I remember seeing him up there. I'm like, dude, that dude rules up there. I totally thought he was your bass player, but it turns out it was just a trial.
He was in his element there all the way.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so we just started up and started playing some shows and having fun with it. Eventually Tom left, and we decided, are we going to change our name? What are we going to do? And we went on as a 3-piece and really found our sound. So the first album from Agata had Tom on it, and then everything after did not. And that's kind of when we really became more of like a progressive, kind of more like metal influenced band, I guess.
Yeah. Because you were sort of juggling Agata, I think you had a brand new release from Agata at about the same time that we released Entitled to Enlightenment from Zombie Holocaust. So you were a super busy guy around that time. Tell us about that time around Entitled to Enlightenment. From around 2012 to 2013 is when we were recording that album. And you've got riffs on it, you've got vocals on it, you do all the drum parts. Like you did your contribution on Entitled to Enlightenment. I don't think everyone really knows the extent of, because as I said, you've got all sorts of riffs in there and vocals and stuff like that. How much more did you contribute to Entitled to Enlightenment as opposed to Strike Force?
Yeah, I mean a lot more. Like you said, like Strike Force, I pretty much played drums. I mean, I might have written some lyrics. I think me and Nick have always been pretty good about like collaborating on lyric stuff. And I think it's like he would kind of think of like the idea, and then we'd be like, and I'd be like, okay, try this or add this verse or whatever, or like do it like this or whatever. But yeah, mainly just like drums and maybe some lyric writing. But yeah, I mean, Entitled, there was definitely some riffs, like a riff in Wagon Burner, and then the damn near like a whole other song, yeah, just lyrics sprinkled throughout the album.
Yeah.
But that was a tough recording process, man. That took so long. It was
well, not you. Your drum parts took no time at all. I feel like your drums took like half a day, and then everything else after that took about a year.
Yeah, sounds about accurate.
Yeah. So
but yeah, fun times though. I mean, recording with Sam was really, really fun. It was a cool experience in a way because we got to learn a lot and we got to collaborate a lot with him, and kind of take our time with stuff.
Dan's of course talking about Sam Zerner, producer of Entitled to Enlightenment. He also produced the first 2 Fog of War records, as well as some other things. Super talented guy, just for a little context there. Dan, what was the reception like?
Really quick, did Sam record any
Yeah.
Violation and stuff?
Yeah, he just did the last one.
Yeah,
He did
that's right.
the last album that we just put out. Shoot, was that 2 years ago now? Time flies when you're quarantined.
That was over at Hyde Street Studios, right?
That was.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan and Nick were both there too, and did some backup vocalage, and it was fun. Nick made a video for us. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun to do.
So, Dan, what was the reception like for Entitled to Enlightenment? Because it's such a different record than Strike Force. Was there some pushback? Because it is not a pizza thrash album from a band that is
definitely not.
mostly known for having a sort of pizza thrash sound. What was that like?
I mean, it was a little interesting for sure. There was definitely some mixed reviews. I think overall positive, and so those shows that we played around that album were some of the best shows, some of the most successful shows. I mean, we headlined freaking Slims, and it's like
What a
still
night.
one of my right?
Yeah.
Still one of the greatest accomplishments as
Yeah.
a musician, but yeah, some people were definitely off put by. I think we lost some fans, we gained more, and yeah. So I think at that time is really when like Zombie Holocaust developed like their own fan base, I think,
Mhm.
so to speak. Like some people who are really just into us for us. We had people who were not even metalheads at all that were like coming to every show and moshing and stoked and looking forward to the next thing. So
I see,
in a
like,
way,
whereas you might have got some fans for Strike Force that were sort of there for the ride anyway, as long as you were wearing a denim jacket, you're probably cool with them. Yeah.
right,
It's
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think in a lot of ways, like Entitled, mixed reviews, but it felt more organic. It felt more like ours, like our sound. And geez, I mean, who knows what it would have sounded like on a third album,
Who knows? Yeah, I'm curious. I think about that sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys what's up? You guys gonna do a third album or what?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's just put it
Top
this way.
secret.
We got riffs floating around. There's some riffs
There we
floating
go.
around. Yeah.
So
we don't know what we're gonna do with it.
So it's 2013. Entitled to Enlightenment just came out, and now it's time to go on tour. And Fatality, they're going on tour for their record, sort of brought us along. Tell us about that. What was it like squeezing into a van with 10 dudes and going across the United States in the middle of the summertime?
Oh my God. Where the fuck do I start with this one? Honestly, man, it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying because.
So why was it more terrifying than your other tours?
Because we weren't departing from California. We weren't jumping in the van and going. We didn't really have so Fatality. Really quick, hold on. I'm plugging in my phone here because I started out this call with 100% battery, and that thing is like at 5% now.
Oh man, we are cranking along.
Yeah, and you guys are draining.
Oh man,
that's what everyone tells me. Jesus.
But yeah, that was scary because basically we didn't know what the fuck we were getting into. We were taking a Greyhound to Houston, Texas, to meet up with these guys in the middle of their tour, right? And we had known them before. Fatality had stayed at my house when we were on tour. We booked them a show, and they had stayed at my house for like damn near a week. On one of their earlier tours. So we did already know them, but they had a couple member changes. Like a couple of members switch out. So it was a little bit of a different group. And yeah, I mean, it was just like, oh man, like we're taking the Greyhound. First of all, this sucks. Like we don't have any of our own equipment, and then we're gonna jump in the middle of their van after they had already been on the road for like a month, and like when they're used to all this space, they're used to like their own. you know, when you go on tour, you have like a certain mindset. Like you get all the inside jokes. You're just in that zone. And now here we are, you know, 5 more dudes jumping into their fucking zone that they have to now share everything with. They have to share the payout. They have to share the food. They have to share the space. Like, I'm like, okay, these guys are fantastic. I love them, but why are they doing this? Like, what is in it for them? Like, they're already.
I still think about that. I still think about that because just as you said, the space alone. I mean, when there's 10 people in the van, that's all you can fit. Like, that's fucking it. So imagine half of that, all the space you'd get oh my God, you could maybe extend your arms if you wanted to, not with Zombie Holocaust in the van. Nope. And just like Dan said, we're splitting, you know, we're taking house money, maybe merch that they would have sold. Their fans are buying our stuff, you know. So why were they so nice to us, Dan?
I guess because we just have we share that special bond, you know, that it's like you meet people from all over the world. And this has happened a lot of times just between touring and letting people stay at my house on tour and hosting, which I love to do, by the way. If, you know, when the world starts up again, I love hosting touring bands. So come stay. But you just meet, you almost find like it's like your soulmates, you know. It's like you never met before. You're from different parts of the world, but you just freaking connect, you know. And that's what we had with these guys, you know, right from day one when we met them, and they stayed at my house in Castro Valley. So
absolutely,
I think that's why I did it, because clearly they didn't need our contacts. I mean, they had their own contacts. They booked their own successful shows. They knew everyone that we knew in LA already. I mean, absolutely. I don't think if I was a band, I wouldn't bring a whole band on tour with them just so that we could play a successful show in their town. You know, I mean, and I think that's about all we had to offer was maybe a successful Oakland show and maybe, you know, some help booking and stuff. But I really think it's just because we were friends. You know, that's really what it's about.
Well, they changed my life. So I really appreciate that they did that. I met my fiance on that tour. And now I live down in Southern California with her. So thanks, Fatality. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah!
Ultimate wingman.
Right, dude. I mean, do you remember like traveling around SoCal with them, like playing like 4 or 5 shows down there, and we just had this gathering that kind of kept growing that would follow us around. Like, it started out with like a couple people, and then by the end of it we had like 7 people like just following us around wherever we went, show to show.
Such a fun time. Oh man, God, I can't wait to get back out there. Right,
seriously. Well, let's do it. Let's go on tour.
So so the tour was in the middle of summer. It was grueling. It was a hot ass summer. And we get back and there's not really much going on. The album got released. We toured it. We tried our best to sell it. Now what's going on? Because you know, ZH just kind of playing shows here and there, but sort of, you know, hasn't released anything since then. What happened after the tour? Because I moved away. I didn't quit, but I did move away.
Yep.
And you know, well, what happened there? What happened from 2013 on?
Well, I mean, you know, we shot that Pedal to Metal music video. That was fun. You know, and then we were writing. You know, we were writing some songs and had, you know, had some material going on. You know, we were spending a lot of time with Jordan writing some stuff. Just playing shows here and there. Really, I guess. You know, I mean, I think we even came down to SoCal once when you lived down there.
And I remember.
And I mean, at that point, I think it just kind of like, there's just this period of years that's kind of like we were just practicing writing, playing stuff, doing videos, and just kind of existing. You know, I think at that point, it's like you kind of you're just like, all right, we're just this entity now and that's kind of how I feel like ZH will always be. Like, whether or not we're an active band, we're just this entity that's gonna exist in some fashion or another, right?
Right. So, well, you know, ZH was sort of a product of that thrash sort of movement in the late 2000s. Now it's 2013, 2014, and that's gone. You know, so like
Yeah.
where does a band like ZH go? You know.
Well, you
And
know,
I'm
I think we would evolve, right? We would just
right.
evolve into kind of something else, and I
Mhm.
think that's kind of where the you know in terms of the sound started going. And yeah, I mean, there were some really cool shows in there in that period. I mean, we opened for Ghoul at Gilman. That was
Mhm.
pretty awesome. You know, and so yeah, I mean, there were still some fun times in there, and I think there was still a market for that. But I think at that point we kind of wanted to just straight up be like a heavy metal band, not necessarily like thrash, but it's like now we're just heavy metal,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I stopped telling people I was in a thrash band at a certain point. I was just kind of telling people I was in a rock band, you know, because we had sort of changed our sound quite a bit, you know. So I stopped saying thrash and I just called us a rock band after a certain point because, you know, it was a little more indicative of what we felt because, you know, none of us are wearing white Nikes and, you know.
Yeah,
I couldn't find any
exactly.
that fit me.
What
I would have
was that,
worn
Joe?
I couldn't find any that fit me.
Can you imagine Big Joe in just really tight jeans and white Nikes?
They don't make tight jeans for me.
I can actually. I'm imagining right now.
Just squeezing into them jeans. Woo! So anyway, pardon me. So sort of in the interim, Agata becomes Three Towers.
Yes.
Yeti leaves the band. And tell us the story of how you got your maniac bass player for Three Towers. Introduce us to him and tell us how Agata sort of formed into Three Towers, if you would.
Yeah, so you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, in a lot of ways, it happened to Agata. It's almost the same thing that happened to Pillager and to Zombieaholic. It's just kind of like you're just it exists for so long, and then you're like, okay, where's this going? We're all changing, and then yeah, so Yeti left, and for a little while, Omar and I were just writing tunes on our own. We had actually already recorded some stuff with Greg with Yeti on it that didn't fit with the Agata. It was just too heavy. You know, we became more of like this like kind of sludge metal band.
Yeah.
And we were on the bass player hunt, and we actually tried out Tito Cole from Nopes. Screen, you know, he does screen printing. Good old Cole. He used to be in a band called Out of Spite. Now Nopes.
Okay.
He does screen printing, everything. You know, a good Oakland dude. We actually tried him out. We tried out Cole, and he jammed with us one practice, and you know, he called us back. He's like, yeah, I mean, tell you the truth, guys, like, not really the sound I'm looking for, but I know this dude that'll be perfect, you know. And apparently Cole like ran into Brian on the street skateboarding, and it was just like, what you doing now, man? And Brian's like, nothing, man. My band Egg Shen like kind of broke up and yada yada. And then Cole's like, dude, I know this band Three Towers that's looking. I don't even think we were called Three Towers yet. Yeah, we weren't. He was just like, I know the band's looking for a bass player. I think you'd be perfect. So he linked us up with Brian, and Brian came into the studio, and we had our first jam with them, and we had material that we were gonna like try to teach him and try him out and stuff. And what ended up happening is him and Omar ended up nerding out on pedals for like a couple hours and just nerding out on tone, right? And just getting in the tone zone, just being like, all right, how can we get this shit to sound as heavy as possible? And then we just ended up straight just like jamming, like improv jamming for like another couple hours. Like did not play any of the material that we thought at all. And we're like,
awesome.
Yeah, this guy's a maniac. He's a good fit. Let's do this. And I think it was like our second practice that we came up with the name Three Towers. And we literally came up with that name. Like we had this like list of names we were going off. And we're like, how about this one? How about this one? And Three Towers is a product of us all being in the room with a green pen, drawing on that fucking big whiteboard in the studio. And Brian's a killer artist. So he drew like these like three like monolithic looking like deity type characters like sitting on these big thrones and shit like that. And we were like, and I don't even remember who blurted it out. It's like, oh, like Three Towers. And we're like, oh, that's fucking sick. And so that's how the name came about. That's how that's how the concept of the three deity releases came about. That's how the artwork for deity sort of came up. It was just like all in that brainstorming session early on.
Wow, man, you got lucky because I mean, wow, like just to have a guy go, oh, I know a guy. Just to have a guy say, I know a bass player is rare enough, and then for you to actually click, with the guy, and then find out that you can be in a band with this dude. You got lucky, man. That is great.
Yeah,
I thought you guys were friends.
Yeah, we didn't know him at all beforehand. Yeah, I mean, look at you're right. We got lucky, but finding a bass player is so hard. It took us 10 years to find Joe. It took Zombie Holocaust 10 goddamn years to find Joe. So we really did get lucky, and stuff just kind of clicks. And like you said, like Brian is a maniac. He's a total wild card. And just brings this like massive energy with him everywhere he goes.
It's true, man. I don't know how else to describe him. But he's a maniac. Like he's so fun to watch on stage, and then off stage he's just like the same guy. He's so nice. He's real nice. And he's just wild, dude. He's like really really nice guy. We our first Stray Rebel Bullet, our first show, we played with you guys, Three Towers, and on this particular show, all of our gear matched. We had black and gold like guitars and shit. Yeah. And then Three Towers goes up on stage, and Brian gets on the mic. He's like, "Give it up for Stray Rebel Bullet, black and gold gear. Everyone's matching. I see you, motherfuckers. I see you guys." I was like, this guy fucking rules. I fucking love him.
That was at Elbow Room too. The new Elbow.
That was
Room
at the right. Exactly, that Jack London Elbow Room where you got to take your gear up a stair set that is about this steep, goes right up about that steep.
The only way, not ADA compliant whatsoever.
But great venue, no complainies. Great venue.
No, awesome. And please support them and keep them around, please. We need them.
Yeah, if you can. How can you support Jack London Elbow Room right now? Just go get a drink, I guess. Go
get a fucking drink and order their to-go stuff, or just give them money. Just go and just hand them money and just walk away. yeah. Just donate, folks. Keep these live venues. And, we were just talking about Slims earlier. Slims is no more, unfortunately. It's very sad. Yeah. It is. But they are still selling merch. You can still go and get a Slims hoodie and some glasses, some pint glasses and shit like that.
I need to do that. Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Do it quick before they sell out, because I don't think they're making more of them.
Oh my God.
They're probably trying to get rid of whatever they have.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh, Slims, rest in peace.
Really though, really. Great American's still there, but yeah, Slim's gone. It's sad. Glad we got to play there, man.
Yeah. They feed you there, and it's such a nice feeling. We played there, and then they're like, "Hey, food's ready." I'm like, "What? Food?" And they're like, "Yeah, food, free food for you guys." I was like, "Whoa!"
Dude, that chef was super awesome too.
Yeah,
dude,
he came and checked in on us like afterwards.
Like what?
Yeah. Great venue.
Yeah. So here we are. It's 2020. Dan, Three Towers. You guys are still recording stuff. Did you guys record? I think I asked you this a couple weeks ago, but did you guys record all your new stuff before COVID, or are you still getting in there?
No, we recorded everything before COVID. So yeah, we just released D83, and then we have another full length already recorded. We actually right around this time last year is when we really laid down all the tracking. It was we recorded on Halloween and into Day of the Dead and stuff. And then we got that mixed and mastered like right when COVID started. Greg mixed and mastered it for us, and we've just been sitting on it like a little Easter egg all throughout COVID, and we're in the process of writing more material. We're writing tons more material right now. We have like another album like 75% written that we have a recording date booked with Greg, but I think it's going to keep getting pushed out.
Let me just stumble over my own words for 5 more minutes. Who writes most of the stuff in Three Towers? Because I know obviously you're a very skilled guitar player as well as a drummer. I know Omar's got riffs for days. Does Brian contribute as well? Is it a 33% all the way around kind of thing?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, like I've written a couple riffs, but really, like, yeah, I do play a lot of guitar, but Omar doesn't need help riff writing. That guy is a freaking riff machine. It's
He
just
is.
insane how he cranks them out. You
Mhm.
know, I help a lot with me and Omar are pretty much 50-50 on all the lyric writing and vocals.
Mhm.
Brian like definitely contributes a lot at practice to like song structures and just the overall vibe, you know, of everything, and the imagery and the aesthetic and everything. Brian also writes riffs, and it's hilarious because it's the total like the whole wild card thing, right? Brian will write a riff, we'll all jam it, we'll all love it. Me and Omar will remember it, and then we'll come back and be like, "We want to play that riff you wrote?" And he's like, "What?" and then we'll reteach him his own riff back to him. Yes.
Oh my god. Oh, that's so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, at least I'm glad you guys are there as sort of like riff stenographers, or
that's
or
pretty much
always record.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Always
how
do it.
we always do it. Pretty much every time we make any progress, we're like we press record on the voice memo, throw the phone on the floor, and just and then jam it out. So we at least have something.
Well, that's good news. I'm glad Three Towers is still going on. Still writing music. It's COVID. It's really depressing. But
yeah.
I'm glad you guys are still working hard.
Really quick too. I mean, you know, speaking of COVID, so fortunately we got to go on tour right before COVID, and we toured with this band Alpaca from Shanghai. It's funny because they're based out of Shanghai, but none of them are actually from Shanghai. They're literally like a nomadic alpaca. Like that's how they are. But they came over like the COVID like started in like pretty much right there, like in Shanghai, like where they were. And they were already like pretty much in lockdown a couple months before America, and they made it out of the country like right in time right before their big lockdown happened. And so when they were on tour here in January with us, their country was going through the same thing that like we were going through in March, you know. So
were they stuck in America?
No, they were able to get back, but they were all really worried about going. Like some of them didn't even go back. Some of them, like Javier, their vocalist, he just went. He went straight to Spain. He was like, "I'm going straight to Spain." Like,
yeah. Who wants to go back?
Yeah. So it was pretty special getting to record with them. And now, once again, man, they're now like lifelong friends that like we just made this connection with. And Javier actually hit me up, and he has another band called Wolf Crown that he wants to do a split with us. So we're looking at maybe, you know, writing some material to do a split with them. They're all based out of Madrid.
Oh, that's awesome! Wow. Yeah, you guys got to make it out there.
That's the plan. We're gonna do a Euro tour once all this shit blows over.
What's the stoner doom sludge scene like in Europe?
You know, I'm not really sure, but I think it's.
Is there a lot of bands coming out of there?
That's a great question. I should probably know that, but I'm not really sure. I would imagine it's pretty good. I mean, overall, European metal is like it's just a huge thing. It's way metal in general is just way bigger over there than it is out here. And I know, you know, like at festivals like Hellfest and Roadburn and stuff, like they always have a lot of still sludgy bands on there.
You know, Alpaca Terry's actually right here in the room with us. We were pretty stuck. You said right here in America.
Oh, he was. They were pretty stuck. Oh man, that might be who is that? Is that David? Is that David there?
Alpaca Terry. Three Towers fucking rule. So there you go. So yeah, speaking of, man, what's going on with Three Towers? What's going on in the future? I know we probably talked about this a couple of weeks when you were on, but just to refresh everybody, you guys did release that little 3-parter deity. You guys got anything else going on? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that, you know, look out for a split with Javier's new band from Madrid, and also really soon here we're getting the artwork and everything together for our next release, which is going to be called Criminal. No relation to the 90s Fiona Apple song.
Oh, Oh, you guys should cover that. What a great song. You just reminded me of that. Oh, man.
Maybe
My
we should
mind
cover
went
that.
there instantly.
You're a big
Okay.
Fiona Apple fan,
I
aren't you,
instantly
Joe?
was. She's cute.
Well, what about her music, Joe?
She does music. Dang. Jane of all hats.
Well,
That girl.
okay. So we got that to look forward to. We got a little, hush hush about zombie Holocaust stuff, which is good. A little surprise is always, it's good for everyone. And Pleasure Cult. What's up with Pleasure Cult? Yeah.
Pleasure Cult is still writing music also. We meet up maybe once in practice, like once every 3 months or something like that. But we're writing stuff, or we have songs and riffs going back and forth too.
Someone left a comment when I posted that you were going to be on the show. Someone left a comment and said that finally the drummer of every East Bay band speaks. And I'm like, do you feel that you get pulled in different directions by all your bands?
Oh yeah, 100%. But
yeah,
but I
get tired of that.
Shit.
You never get tired of that, do you? No.
I mean, it gets tiring, but I don't get tired of it.
No.
Let's put it that way. But what's cool about it is that like nowadays, and especially with COVID, it's like the only option we have. It can exist without you having to go to the studio every fucking week. Things can just still exist, and you could put projects on pause, like focus on one, and then resume it later. And then it's easier to self-record now than ever. So it's way easier to balance being in multiple projects now than it was back in the day when I was literally going to the studio 3 times a week. And just spending half my life there.
God, so much gas money. My gosh.
Dude, I mean, just everything money. I mean, beer money, eating out. I mean, just at the time.
That's true.
And just getting older and, focusing on relationship and stuff. It's like, and just focusing on adulting in general. It's just, it's hard to do that. So it's really cool that we can all actually exist in a band together in that fashion. So yeah, I got Pleasure Cult. They're still doing their thing. I also got this new project called Aspasia. That's going to be a little bit more of like a kind of dark gothy punk kind of thing.
Yeah. Who else is involved with that?
So that's Courtney, old friend from Castro Valley that went to Redwood High. The garage from that video.
The one with the garage.
The one with the garage. She's on vocals. It's actually her first band, and she's fucking amazing. She's killing it, writing a lot of stuff. And then our friend Daniel Garcia, he used to be in a band called Static Thought back in the day. If anyone knows that, I
remember Static Thought.
Yeah. So he's a pretty seasoned musician, yeah, so that's going on. We're about to record our first demo sometime eventually.
Well, Dan, you know what? Right here, took the words right out of my mouth. Dan Bandfest 2021, says Nick Gomez. I think you could fill up a festival with just your bands. Why not?
Because I'd be so tired.
I can't believe what you guys do. I like, seriously, drummers come out of a show so fucking sweaty. To imagine doing a set again would just I have so much respect for what you guys do. It's so much exercise. It's crazy.
Yes, it definitely is. And I've played a couple of double headers like that, where like I get off stage and then get right back on with like a little 15-minute break while people set up.
Well, Dan, I know you're a busy guy. I had so many questions and so many stories to tell, but an hour and a half just flew by.
Yeah, wow, holy shit.
Yeah, we got to get you back on here because there's so many. Let's get Dan back on here and we'll just tell funny stories next time, because this time I needed to hear the story of Dan Souza. It just has not been told. As far as I'm aware, the story of Dan Souza has not been told. So anyway,
yeah, I kind of live in secrecy. I don't even post that often, So
that's true. I always like that about you. You're a very secretive kind of guy. You don't post very often, and I appreciate anybody that lives that way. So
yeah.
Props to the man of mystery.
Balance. Hey, really quick, just to clear that up earlier, Joe. That Mastodon show is a Crack the Sky anniversary.
Yeah, we were sitting next to each other.
I was on crutches.
You were broken.
I was broken. I had a freaking sprained ankle, and
Oh, no.
then they tried to stick me in the ADA section, and like poor freaking people that have to be in the ADA section. That is the worst seating, and they stick you behind people that are standing up. So it's like you're sitting there and
What?
you can't even see the show. You know, you're just like, what the fuck? So I ended up just standing up and like leaning against the railing and just watching it standing up, you know, on crutches, because I was like, I'm not gonna sit here and miss the whole show.
Man, that's cruel. That made me sad. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but that fun show though, great show. Coheed killed it. Mastodon. I mean, I love the album, so I love that Crack the Sky album. So I was almost in tears during that shit.
Hey, there you go.
Man,
It wasn't a
fucked
bad
up.
time. Like they kicked ass.
Yeah.
Man, I blew it when I missed that show. Fuck. Oh, so sad. But anyway, Dan, you're the man. I know you're a busy guy. Well, like I said, I'll let you go. Dan, just on a personal note, you're one of my favorite people in the whole world. As far as drumming goes, there's no one better in my eyes. For those that have never jammed with Dan or familiar with his playing, I just want to talk about how versatile he is as a player. Like Dan is so he can grab whatever you're playing or whatever you just start playing. You pick up your guitar and jam with. Like Dan will pick it up like that. He is an amazing. I just can't say enough about you, because I honestly you are so underrated. You never. I don't hear enough people talk about Dan Souza when they talk about the great drummers, and maybe I'm biased because I played with you for 10 years, but I've played with a bunch of drummers, and I know what I'm looking at. And Dan, you're one of the best I've ever played with, man. So your adaptability and your style and your originality that you bring to it, I've always really appreciated it. I don't know if anybody has ever vocalized that, so I just wanted to tell you right here in front of everyone that you are the man, Dan. I really appreciate what you do. And thank you for 10 years of being a bandmate of mine. I really, really appreciate it, man.
Oh man, thank you, dude. Thank you so much, and fucking likewise. You guys are two of my favorite musicians too. Just couldn't say enough. I mean, Joe, your shit speaks for itself. JP, your leads are some of the most saucy. They make me want to cry. They make me emotional.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But this is the Dan Souza story. This is the Dan Souza story.
Well, when are we going to tell the JP story?
Ooh,
I'll
start up a podcast.
On my podcast someday.
Yeah. I'll feel most comfortable if that's what you do. So good. All right, Dan. Hey, Joe, anything else you want to talk to Dan about?
What? No, I think I'm good, man. I'm good.
All right, then. Well, we'll let you go. Dan, once again, thank you so much for being on the show. You got an open seat here anytime. Come on back whenever, okay?
All right, guys. Looking forward to it.
All right. We'll see you later. Thank you, Dan.
See you, man. Thank you, Dan.
Later.
There he goes. What a guy. What a guy.
Dude, what a great drummer.
God, he is. I mean, I didn't want to go, I didn't want to go too in. I didn't want to
we should have made him a cake.
Yeah, I feel, with all those words, and words are empty, actions speak louder than words. Make someone a cake.
And then we could have had another camera on the bottom, in its own little square. And then he could have looked at it the whole time while he did the interview.
Let me write this down next time. Cake, screen on bottom. Got it. All right. Hey, JoE, that was fun. And the whole hour and a half, we got to speak to the great Dan Souza.
Dude, the time went by quick. I checked out the time and I was like, whoa, we're running. I mean, we don't have a set time.
No.
But, normally we would have stopped. And I was sitting there going oh, it's probably about quitting time. And I'm looking at it like, oh, shit.
Well, that's the beauty.
Right along.
Yeah, we are, and that's the beauty of this show. It is an open-ended show. It lasts about an hour. But when someone's on and we're really interested in them, this thing could go 4 hours, okay? When you tune into the morning after, know that there's no end in sight.
Hey, it was really up to Dan. I mean, he was the one that wanted to sit there and tell us his fun stories, and it was actually go ahead.
Yeah, well, I do want our guests to feel that way. I want our guests to feel like that they don't have to squeeze it in, in an hour. I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to tell their whole story. So I hope Dan was able to do that today.
And it was fun being a part of that story.
Yeah. I mean, you're a big part of Dan's story. Literally.
You just call me fat?
I did. I did. I did. You got me. All
Damn
right.
it.
Well, what do you say we end this thing, Joe? I don't really have much else. We talked about Dan's
think
story.
you got it
We
all
talked
there.
about Limp Bizkit. What else is there?
Dan Fest.
Dan Fest 2021.
And Dan's going to perform Thursday and Saturday.
And we've come full circle. Well, with that, what do we say we fuck off, yeah?
Hey, I'm down to do all that fun stuff.
Okay, good. Well, Joe, oh, that's nice. Do you ever tie it up there? Is it long enough?
No,
Oh, we
not
talked
quite
about
yet.
this. Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, and then it'll look sort of like a baby's bonnet, you know?
Give me another year to finally put it on a bow tie.
Okay. We'll give you a year. All right, well, let's get out of here, Joe. It's been great. Hey, everybody, thank you for watching. Very, very much appreciated. If you're watching on Twitch, give us a follow there. That would really help us out. We're trying to get to affiliate status, blah, 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 all that stuff people say when they're advertising. That stuff really leaves a sour taste in my mouth. I hate when I'm watching YouTube and they're like, oh, look. Before they even start, they're like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, click, mail it to a friend, like again, leave a comment, share it, subscribe again, and now we'll start the video. And then at the end of the video, they do the exact same thing. So as you can see, I sort of waited till the end for that nasty business. Give us a follow if you could. That's about all I got to say. Joe, you got anything else, big guy?
That's all I got, my man. That was fun, and I'm always happy to be in this chair right next to you digitally. Like what? You're over here.
Did you see how I called you fat there?
Fuck! You did it again. It was right over my fat head.
All right, enough of that. I never called Joe fat, by the way. It's not my style. It's not that kind of show.
Carlton.
But Joe always thinks I look like Carlton. Joe, ever since I met Big Joe, it's in his he's dead set in his mind that I look like Alfonso Ribeiro, who played Carlton.
Do you have the? I lost the picture, but I've had a comparison picture, and you're like, well, yeah, that picture does. I do look like Carlton in that picture.
It's the
I'll hunt it
smirk.
down.
I know the picture. Yeah, I know it. I'm pretending like I don't know it, but I know the damn picture.
I know it.
And it's the smirk. It's the Carlton smirk. I do have it. But
I mean, you're
right,
way better looking than the guy. You're better looking than the guy.
I don't know about that. The guy doesn't age. Have you seen him? He hosts America's Funniest Home Videos now. He looks like a teenager.
Man, what a guy.
Yeah. He may look like a teenager because he's like 5'1", but
well, we need him on the show, and we'll have to talk about how he tried to sue Fortnite for the dance and lost.
That bummed me out. I was so hoping he was going to win.
I think they took the dance off.
Okay.
I don't see it.
There you go. I'm on team Carlton all day. So all right. If anybody knows Alfonso Ribeiro, shoot him a line. Try to get him on the morning after. Would really appreciate it. Aside from that, I got nothing else. So for Big Joe, I'm JP. Thank you for watching the morning after. We'll see you next week at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Twitch.tv/YoungPopeTV. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye now. Wave goodbye, Joe. Oh, shakas. Ooh, ride the wave, baby. All right.